nevertheless, let's go ahead and run on into our first map. Actually, we're going to show the. It looks like we're going to go ahead and show the teams here. Jodelo and friends coming in with a Spooky Spanish, Shanks, Jodelo, of course, Benji, and WedTube 345. So I guess if they name the whole team after Jodelo, I mean, they got to be one heck of a pop-off Genji, right? Like, it's got to be the case.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some Cyborg Ninja coming out from Jodelo. Then we got the Pristine Guardians. I mean, we know already the pop-off potential of every single one of these players. I'm talking Monkey Happy, I'm talking Mellow, talking Sledge, talking Snotty Finger, and talking Asolius. Really great plays from all of these players, and I'm excited to see if that can carry on into our first map, which is going to be Oasis.
Appreciate the info there from It's the Afternoon, typing up in our chat saying it was super close, lost to Persona, was neck and neck the entire series. Could argue that Li Zhang was a little bit better for them, for Persona, but nevertheless, they ended up coming out on top. You know, it's okay. Getting that one loss in doesn't mean that you're out of it just yet. Top two move on, and as we head into University, let's see how this teleporting Sim Bastion strat works out for us.
Yeah, and I mean, we do have the Bastion on the side of Jodelo and friends. I can hear you, Cat.
Yeah. He's trying to escape, but the door's shut, so I have to get somebody to come get him.
It's cute, but as we get into the fight, have a bit poke between the two teams is going to be the first pick from Mellow onto Jodelo. Starting to sound like a bit of a Dr. Seuss book. And now Mellow's going to fire bullets, take out the other Bastion. That doesn't even mind. But it's going to be a great first fight for the Pristine Guardians, just taking commanding lead.
I'm sorry, I have full cat in front of me now, so trying to catch the action gonna be a little bit difficult, but nevertheless, beautiful work there from Jodelo and friends on this Azaria, really pushing back and using that Amp Matrix to try to push their way onto the objective.
And you have both of the Amplification Matrix and Jodelo and friends finding the big pick gun from Mellow. Early pickup, and the Pristine Guardians are gonna get torn up asunder. Jodelo.
Yeah, as we go ahead and see Jodelo taking the point, Pristine Guardians setting themselves up in a good point thus far. 33% is very good for them, but we'll have to see how it continues onward with both Modelo and Shanks now, or Mellow rather, and Shanks on these Bastions. There's going to be a lot of bullets flying. It's going to be who can get that aim, who can get those shots first, and hopefully not charge up Spooky Spanish on the side.
Oh, that's a huge pick onto the Symmetra, immediately answered by Mellow, as both turret clones going to come out from both these Bastions, but there's a lot coming in. Mellow takes out the other Bastion. Jodelo, they still have a lot of ults, but they can't use it without the support. The beat will come in, but it'll fizzle away, and the Guardians will take the point.
See if they can continue to hold on here as they go ahead and pull up those percentages, looking to meet and surpass Jodelo as quickly as possible. Can I just say I'm really impressed with the way that Sledge and the rest of the team are using that teleporter. In my games, you don't nearly see us moving around that often, but I love seeing these.
Oh, what a great rampage from Monkey Happy, just going into the backline and shutting it down. Even Rob couldn't save Jodelo.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that, because I'm pretty sure the grab stopped the rampage, but obviously not enough to stop it from doing damage. Nevertheless, Pristine Guardians will continue to hold on it. Oh! Woo! Benji just barely able to catch that edge.
Barely staying alive, but Jodelo will not have the same luck And Melo's gonna find that first pick in a last fight territory for the Pristine Guardians. Melo starting off incredibly well, and now here comes the shots from that ult, dropping it in with the artillery. The overtime wick going to start burning down the slashes from Jodelo, trying to keep their team in this round, but cannot find a pick. And it's going to be Benji getting taken out. Can they find a pick on this Baptiste? They do take out the BAP of Pristine Guardians. That's a huge start, but they need more. They need another answer, and they lose their own BAP, and it'll be enough for the Pristine Guardians to take round one.
Yeah, Jodelo turning their back at the wrong opportune moment there for Melo to just absolutely obliterate them. But Pristine Guardians doing as we saw before, taking picks or taking those picks quickly and really positioning themselves well. We'll have to see if they can continue onward. Would love to set this up, but I have a kitty very mad that he cannot get out. So I'm going to hand it over to you, K-Wing, to prep up for this next round.
Understandable there, buddy. And we have similar-ish compositions. We're not switching up too much of the tank. We're not switching up the tank lines at all. But we have Sledge taking on the role of the Genji, pardon. And Jodelo keeping on to that Genji as well. We have a soldier coming in from Melo. I'm interested to see this fight between the soldier and the sojourn and the two Genjis, these dueling cyber ninjas. We'll have to see if Jodelo is going to be able to live up to that Genji title that earned them the name on this title for the team, or if Pristine Guardians are going to take this map solidly. And already Immortality Field coming out from the Guardians and from Snotty Binga. They're looking to keep this team alive, but that early Immortality Field is a bad start. You lose that so early on. Shanks nearly getting taken down. The Kiriko as well, nearly getting burst down with the Helix rocket coming in over top. And Sledge is going to take that as the opportunity to engage, and will do so perfectly. 2-piece for both of the DPS.
I don't know how to feel about that, K-Wing. That should have been handedly in Jodelo's favor. Full charge on Spanish on that Zarya. They had everything they needed to push in, but for some reason were incredibly hesitant in doing so, and just allowed Pristine Guardians to pick them off one by one with the supports down. It was all she wrote. 25% climbing right now for Pristine Guardians as we see Jodelo go ahead and take it to the high ground and are looking for that first hit.
Sledge finding a huge pick onto the Kiriko. Gonna trade off, but you take those picks, you take those trades every single day if you're Sledge. Losing that Kiriko is a huge loss for the side of Jodelo and friends, but they'll get back quickly, so they need to find their advantage and take it, as they're looking to try and maybe combo up the Tactical Visor and the Amplification Matrix, as Melo is already going to get taken low, and the Amp Matrix thrown out on an angle that's not really working out for them. Only going to flip over to Jodelo and friends. The Blade comes out from Jodelo, the Terror, as well as the Kitsune Rush, but Jodelo rushes in and takes so much damage, needs to get beat just to stay alive. As on top, Melo dishing out the damage with the Tactical Visor. Sledge will find two, and it is another solid fight for Pristine Guardians. The only thing good for Jodelo is that they had control of the point.
Yeah, they were at least able to get that 26%, which is going to mean a lot going into the extension of this round. It at least gives them something to start off with. Monkey Happy, once again, has that Rampage online. It's going to be up to Shanks to see if they can use this overclock to grab some quick headshots, shut down that Junker Queen where they stand.
Yeah, and you have the Junker Queen ult on the side of Pristine Guardians, as well as the beat. They have the advantage here, so unless Shanks can come up with something huge, or if they can really disrupt Monkey Happy, which it seems like they have, you have Shanks coming in over top with the ult. The Genji's gonna catch the Lucio. The Lucio's gone. The beat won't save a darn thing. Not even a darn soul gonna be saved by that Lucio, and the Rampage will come through to catch two. Then the Pristine Guardians will be thrown point.
Monkey going straight out into traffic with that one as we see them finished up. But beautiful positioning there by Shanks and the rest of the team. It was really clutch there for Benji to be able to boop away Monkey Happy as they were trying to contest that high ground, really forcing them to essentially negate any possibility of being able to pull off that early Star Wars success. But here they come, full team ready to charge on in.
Full team indeed, as already the push going to come through. A huge pick from Mello, and the ult's coming in for Pristine Guardians, looking to seal off this map and take themselves to that early lead. Getting the pick on the Kuroko, getting the pick on the Junker Queen, getting the pick on the Lucio, the Genji soon to fall, and no one will be able to touch. For the side of Jodelo and friends, they will be jumped on and thrown off the map. Pristine Guardians take a solid, a dominant first map.
Yeah, I mean, definitely showing that Pristine Guardians are incredibly warmed up after that first match with previous champions of the Atlas tournament. Jodelo really needing to find their groove here, because after such a close tournament, or after such a close match with their previous combatants, they got to find their groove. They got to find a way to be able to sustain on this point successfully. Otherwise, they are going to continue to have difficulties. And, like we saw last time, their backs are already against the wall. We're heading into hybrid. They have to be able to get this win, or at very least tie, to give themselves any chance of being able to get that second place spot. Because right now, if you can't get in those top two, you're going home, and there's no chance of coming back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we also have to say is that if they lose here, Jodelo and friends, it's over. If you go down 0-2, there's no chance for you to stay alive beyond a miracle.
I'd say it's very highly unlikely. I don't know if it's no chance per se, but it's definitely not in their favor.
I don't think it's possible.
It depends on what happens with the other match. If we get a rotation of like 1 and 2s.
Yeah, it would have to be 3-0, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of whether or not that's possible. And
I mean, it is highly unlikely, but it is possible.
Is it though? I don't think.
Knock on wood again. Well, it just may. They have to beat each other in, like, obviously Pristine Guardians have to beat everyone, but then one of their wins has to come against one another. So Jodelo already lost to who was it? Who's the other team? Persona. So Persona would then have to lose to Medetho, and then Medetho would have to lose to Jodelo and friends. That would make it that everyone is 1-2, and then it would come down to map differential. Which, I mean, for a math nerd like me, that'd be way fun to see happen. But I'm sure not every other team would feel as psyched to just barely get into the playoffs by the skin of your teeth.
So we'll mark it down as highly unlikely and move on. Anyway, that's the thing here that is on the line. So it may not be exactly your tournament life, but it is going to be a highly unlikely chance that if you lose here, you will go into the top two. You would have to have a great map differential, which, to be fair, Jodelo and friends did have in the 2-1, I think they said. But you would have to have something really crazy. So Jodelo and friends might not have their lives against in their hands here, but it is as close as you can get without being fully there. And they're running out on the Zarya composition. Definitely pretty. What we've seen a lot of this time is the Genji just gonna stand there with the deflect, Mello getting their opportunity on this high ground, so really good position coming in for the Guardians.
Woo!
Genji and the Soldier going to trade off as Sledge gonna get that melee kill onto Jodelo. But with these closer spawns, I do favor that trade for the Guardian, and they're gonna push all the way through. Slowly, it's gonna go really deep in, and it'll be a solid push with Jodelo looking to recontest and find something else. Benji is gonna get taken down, and Sledge looking to seal the deal. Now it's this Junker Queen looking to come through. Sledge gets 2. Point will flip, and now just chasing them down as Sledge takes it all.
I'm not knowing how to feel about this, K-Wing. I mean, Jodelo and friends have decent counters for the matchup that they're going against. And the Soria is getting more than enough charge for them to be able to cut through Pristine Guardians like butter. But I don't know what it is about spooky Spanish, if they're spooked themselves or what. There's just no... They either feel there's so much pressure from the Pristine Guardians that they can't push in successfully, and they don't want to take that risk. But then, if they don't take that risk, they also risk losing the point like they continue to do. And now they're having to invest ultimates like this Kitsune Rush just to put any kind of pressure on Pristine Guardians. And I feel like swapping over to that Junker Queen was not the answer that they should have been looking for. I would have loved to have seen them swap over to the Orisa if they're looking to provide a little bit more staying power against the bleed effects of Monkey Happy.
Maybe Jodelo does have this blade coming up, and there's no defensive ult to counter it. Both the Genjis coming up onto the Dragon Blade, so we'll have to see if one blade will be sharper than the other. But it looks like Monkey Happy has got some sharp blades of their own. Gonna take out both the DPS of Jodelo and French Pond. Sledge is gonna pull out the Dragon Blade. We'll find the pick onto Benji, but that was pretty late in the fight, don't you think?
Yeah, but Gracie and Carnage getting in some hits there at the beginning of the fight, able to shut down Jodelo very quickly. Didn't pull the blade, though, but now they have sound barrier from Asolius to be able to keep them in the line. As we head towards Objective Bravo, this blade has to be intense.
It doesn't. Oh, it's dead. Well, I mean, the Rampage goes pretty not the best, but Sledge. End of sentence, Sledge. End of segment, Sledge.
I mean, you know, despite having the name of a very blunt, heavy hammer, the precision at which they are operating on this Genji is absolutely insane. And Jodelo and friends are just having such a difficulty trying to sustain. As you see, Ore Jodelo on that high ground trying to contest as best they can, but they just cannot find the pressure that they need.
Yeah, no, they really can't find that pressure, and just Pristine Guardians pushing through.
Oh no,
really
Jodelo, bye.
Jodelo.
Oh wait, what?
Yep. What?
What a perfect reflex right before falling off the map. Because they were climbing, they climbed up the wall to try to get up, but they ran out of climb. And so they were falling, but must have gotten like perfect timing on the reflex of Mello to get them out of the fight. Wow.
Take out Bello again because time is a flat circle.
I'm excited for season 2 personally. Oh wait, that's a different show. Different show, same characters.
I'm excited for season 2 of Time. I'm
yeah.
Time.
I'm ready for the next season, please. Time season 1 not going so well. Appreciate
yeah,
Time 2.
Season finale, that'd be great. But
Time 2 Electric
Mellow. Time is again a flat circle, and I think we're just Groundhog Day Overwatch edition right now because Jodelo has just killed Mello like 4 times.
And surprisingly, it's doing what they need to do, right? Like they needed to find kind of the linchpin, and if Mello is the one that's kind of peppering everyone down, then it's good that they're doing that. But interesting play there as they use the blade specifically to pull out the beat.
I mean, they get 3 picks off of it, so Jodelo might not be is probably fine with that. So Sledge doesn't get much with the blade, but Jodelo does.
I don't think Sledge was actually trying to get anything with the blade. They had a Rampage online, and I think the goal was to use that. But with Monkey Happy getting taken down so quickly, they didn't have a chance to really follow up on that. The blade was for just to get them off point. But right now, Jodelo and friends are holding that line.
They are, and they've diminished this time bank so incredibly well. Finger though going down. There's the tactical visor from Mello getting the pick onto the Kiriko, and Benji just going to go visit the Omnix as they jump off the map.
With a minute 30 remaining on the clock, Pristine Guardians are setting themselves up for a very good attack time bank, and with no ultimates, Shanks getting ready to come up on that overclock is going to be the saving grace.
Jodelo gets taken down. Snotty Fingers just on the high ground with the amplification matrix.
Oh no!
Oh man, the Pristine Guardians are just rolling through. Time ticking down. 4, 3, 2, 1. They get it with a minute and 1 second left. The Pristine Guardians get more than a minute on the time bank. I mean, that's important here, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, having that minute on the clock and having above a minute on the clock definitely helps you out in the long run. But I think the thing that we really need to be focusing on is we're seeing kind of a mirror of what we saw in our previous matchup on Paraíso, that Pristine Guardians are able to get through certain parts of the map quickly, but not others, which is usually a challenge for any team. The question is, how strong is their defense going to be as Jodelo and friends are coming out? Personally, I would once again push Jodelo and friends to possibly utilize the Orisa. If they're looking to stay alive longer, it just works better against all that bleed that comes out from Monkey Happy's abilities on this Junker Queen. But if they feel that on the attack they can make it work better, then more power to them. It's going to come down, I believe, to Shanks, as of course tradition on King's Row, as it should be, coming out on the Widowmaker to see if they can get a headshot or two to open things up. Probably not going to be giving those away, Pristine Guardians, so we're going to see them probably quickly swap over to the Sojourn that they have been quite well at popping off on.
That they have, and already, even before the doors open, they don't see any heads. They come back in and switch. It's as tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. Widow switching before the doors open on intro. It doesn't have the same like rhythm and flow as lyrics, but yeah, I'm working.
Hey, you know that we got to workshop before we're able to find the beat that really hits on us all. But it looks like Jodelo and friends playing a little ring around the rosy here outside the Alderman.
Yeah, really going around, but they're getting a really great advantage. Sledge and Mello taking out their counterparts immediately, and the Pristine Guardians showing off on this first fight, holding strong.
I mean, it came down to moments of timing. Sledge had that shot lined up, Jodelo had that shot lined up to take out Sledge, but just before the deflect ended up ending, they dashed right through Jodelo to finish them off quickly. Without that DPS on the field, they were able to roll it right on back. Let's see if they can hold the line again.
We'll have to see, because they are coming up to a lot of their ultimates. So Pristine Guardians, if they can keep a long fight going, they can have some success. But they already get the pick onto Jodelo as Monkey Happy gets taken down as well. It's Spooky Spanish sitting in the Kitsune Rush, just firing shotgun shells left and right and center. And they're finding the picks for it. Mello getting chased down by a deadly frog. And there's your first point going the way of Jodelo and friends, but now they have to try and push through these arches as Mello nearly getting taken out.
I just love that Benji and Jodelo are just like up here doing everything they can to hold this line so close. Oh, both of them so incredibly low as we see Mello looking for some positioning to utilize the stack visor, but is not going to be able to do so as the point is already cleaned up.
Already cleaned up and already sent to pack. But just because of how far away the spawns are, Pristine Guardians are going to have to hold back at that second corner. If they can win this fight, and they sure should be able to with 5 ults in the bank. They need to win this fight economically, but if they win this fight, they get really great positioning, so a big fight here from Pristine Guardians. Jodelo and friends lose a lot of time here if they're not careful, and already the blade's gonna come in. Shanks is gone, Mello gonna get taken out as well, but there's Snotty Finger gone. That's a huge loss for the Guardians, and Jodelo and friends will push through. They are not deterred by the time-wasting powers of those arches. They will move on forward.
Yeah, I want to say that I feel like there's some kind of strategy here for the Pristine Guardians, trying to utilize Sledge's blade, not necessarily to get eliminations, but just to keep drawing out Benji's ultimate. Monkey Happy has been popping off when it comes to these rampages and proved more of a threat than many other things, as we see right now.
Oh my gosh. 5 in the rampage, and Mello to clean them all up. I mean, you said it and you spoke it into existence, and Spooky's Vanish is just gonna get delayed. What a rampage.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the strategy right now from Pristine Guardians. It's like, if you've got one ultimate that you need to make sure is out of the way before your pro strat ultimate comes out, then as long as you have a decoy, that's what matters. And I mean, it does help that Sledge is also good at Genji, so even if they didn't use beat on the blade, they probably still would pop off incredibly well. Ooh, but the Rampage finds 3 in return.
Yeah, but it's gonna get beat away by a Solius, and that's a huge one there, and they're gonna use Shanks' ult to try and push forward, but they've lost their Kiriko, and Shanks is not finding the headshots that they need to. They're not finding the picks, and so Spooky's Vanish is going to get taken out, and this is the big lost point of Point Bravo, is that you'll lose yourself right here.
Yeah, but I think they're in a good position to do so. And like I said, as I was commenting on their strategy, they're following their own rule of thumb. Solius held on to the beat despite Jodelo pulling out the blade and getting multiple kills, and then had it in time to use against the Rampage in tow, which allowed them to succeed at this point. We'll have to see if Jodelo's blade finds anyone.
Yeah, it's gonna find the Immortality Field early, but Jodelo is just forced back immediately. Things start to roll. The Guardians need to stay on, need to hold the line, and just get a few more fights, and they might just be able to end it here and send us to our third and final match of the day. But a lot of ults online for the Guardians. A good start for them on this defense. They're going to use the Amplification Matrix immediately to start it up. They've got the blade. The beat's going to come out from Benji. And it's immediately taken down. Sledge as well. And the ults just aren't there for the Pristine Guardians. They use them a bit too helter-skelter. And so they will be suffering that summer swelter. Yeah, I think they're going to be pushing in onto Point Charlie. Spooky Spanish as well. We've got 3.
Okay, wait. I have to take a moment because I had a moment there where Benji was about ready to get absolutely obliterated while beating, and I had a little happen because I'm sure that Benji was feeling in that moment. Oh, your cheeks had to be puckering right there as a Lucio player to be like, I can get it. And thankfully, that was going to be the thing that turned the tide. Unfortunately, they only have 30 seconds if they want to match the time of Pristine Guardians. Let's see if they can make it happen.
Well, they got the Rampage and already takes down the soldier, but they lose their Baptiste. Oh, they lose their Sojourn. That's not Baptiste in there. That's Sojourn. I just have a really pixelated screen. Jodelo with the blade pulls it out a bit late to fight, takes out Sledge, but they can't find anything more. And so a stabilizing fight from the Guardians, and Jodelo's gonna plummet to the death.
Let us see if they can find a way to bring it right on back with this defense. 50 seconds remaining on the clock right now. It's Mello's Tactical Visor versus Shank's Overclock. One can definitely shut down the other incredibly quickly with a single shot, but you gotta land the shot for it to be successful.
Now already the Genji's gone. 2 kills coming out from Sledge again. And the ults just go entirely the way of the Pristine Guardians. 18 seconds left on the clock here. Jodelo and friends, they need something huge here. They need a big Kitsune rush or a big beat to come out. These support ultimates need to be absolutely perfect. They need to be pristine. Otherwise, the Guardians are just going to have their way because they have the Rampage. They have the Blade. So they need something big here. Jodelo and friends, this Kitsune rush needs to carry their hopes and their dreams. But there's the Blade from Sledge. Monkey Happy holding on to the Rampage. The Blade will not find much of anything. Can Jodelo and friends find the first pick? They do burst down the Immortality Field. Monkey Happy still holding on to this Rampage. Absolutely diamond-handed. Throws it out, finds 3. The cleanse only goes on to the Kiriko, and it'll take down the Genji. It'll take down the Junker Queen, and it'll take down Jodelo and friends. They are 0-2, and the Pristine Guardians are undefeated.
I mean, it came down to the strategy I was pointing out the whole time, K-Wing. Just being able to draw out that sound barrier just made so much room for their Junker Queen to be able to do things, because as you were noting, they were pretty spread out. So that Suzu isn't going to do a whole lot in terms of being able to protect the team if they are not staying together. But of course, if they're staying together, that makes them more vulnerable to being rampaged into oblivion by the enemy team. So Pristine Guardians being able to use 2 very similar ultimates to pull out that single piece, that single thing that could prevent them from succeeding. And Jodelo and friends, again, having a very similar composition, could have followed the same rule of thumb, but just could not crack the code. And that is going to be Pristine Guardians continuing to hold on to that first seed spot as they head into their final match of the evening.
Yeah, and I mean, that puts them in an incredibly good position to it puts them in an insanely good position to, I believe, and I've been doing this all night, but I believe guarantee themselves a spot in the finals, because
I feel so.
If Persona won, then you have 2 teams at 2-0, and then the bottom 2 teams that are 0-2 can't catch them. And then if Persona lost, you have a bunch of teams at 1-1, and 1 team at 2-0, and none of them could. 2 teams could not win.
Yes.
And them lose. So
you're absolutely correct there, K-Wing. I actually looked over to the other stream, and Persona ended up taking down Medeo. So we have 2 2-0s, 2 0-2s. It looks like this time around things weren't nearly as close, which tells me that this next match between Pristine Guardians and Persona probably looking to be a spicy one. But before we go, as you go on to break and enjoy whatever snacks or beverages you may find, be sure to be checking out one of the amazing sponsors of Goats Revive, W Energy. Our company Revolution Gaming also just recently partnered with them. Tried it out myself. I'm all about the scientific process. You gotta find out if something is good before you get it in, before you start shilling for it. And for me, the flavors were great. The caffeine definitely is the punch that you need to be able to get through the day. And the part that I loved about it the most is the jitteriness was just non-existent. It's taken from the fruit of the cocoa bean plant, or the not the cocoa bean, the coffee bean plant. Which, if you don't know, that the coffee is made out of the seeds inside the coffee bean plant, but there's like a flesh on the outside that isn't really used for much anything. So they're using that flesh to be able to provide a jitterlessness experience. Words tonight not in my favor, but you know what is in your favor? Using code GOATS Revived over at w.gg. Get yourself one of those trial packs and get on that gamer energy today. We're gonna head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if Pristine Guardians can go ahead and 3-0 this series, or if Persona is going to give them a change of venue.